If you cannot sit on your own porch of a summer evening without being eaten alive, and you have tried the sprays on your skin, the candles on the rail, maybe even one of those zappers that crackles all night, and still the mosquitoes swarm you, I want you to understand something before you spend one more dollar. You are fighting them in the wrong place. Every mosquito that bites you tonight was born in water, still water, sitting somewhere on your own property. Close by, water you very likely walk past every single day without a second look. And here is the hard truth about all those sprays and candles and zappers. Not one of them touches that water. So the water keeps making more mosquitoes, faster than you could ever swat or spray them. Today, I am going to show you how to actually beat them, not by killing the ones biting you, but by drying up the places they are made, the old way, for almost nothing, and how to make your porch livable again this week. My name is Eli. I am Amish. I keep house and yard on a farm in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, with a pond down the hill, rain barrels at the corners of the barn, water troughs for the animals, low wet ground after every storm, and every other thing that ought to make this place a mosquito heaven. And of an evening we sit out on that porch in peace. Not because we spray the whole county, but because my mother and my grandfather understood one plain thing about a mosquito that most folks today have never been told, that a mosquito is not really a creature of the air. It is a creature of the water, and if you take away its water, you take away the mosquito. Today I am going to teach you where they are truly being made, the places right under your nose, how to dry those places up, what to do about the water you cannot dump, and the few honest things that keep them off you while you sit outside. But before any of that, I have to show you how a mosquito actually lives, because once you see it, you will understand why everything you have been buying has failed you. Stay with me. This one gives you your summer evenings back. Let me tell you how a mosquito comes to be, because it is the whole key. A mosquito begins its life in water, always, every single one. The female, and it is only the female that bites you. She needs a meal of blood not for herself, but to make her eggs. And once she has bitten you and filled up, she goes looking for still water to lay those eggs on. Not a pond necessarily, not a creek. Mosquitoes do not want moving water. They want quiet, stagnant water, and just a little of it. She lays her eggs on the surface. They hatch into little wriggling larvae. The old folks called them wigglers, and those wigglers live in the water, feeding, growing, until they turn into mosquitoes and fly up off that water to come and find you. And here is the number that will change how you see your whole yard. In the heat of summer, that whole business, from an egg to a biting mosquito, takes only about a week, about 7 days. So a puddle that sits for a week, a bucket you forgot about, a saucer under a flower pot that catches a rain, becomes a factory turning out a fresh crop of mosquitoes every week all summer long. And how much water does she need? Almost none. This is the part folks cannot believe. A mosquito can breed in the water that collects in a bottle cap, in the little dish under a potted plant, in a clogged gutter, in the fold of a tarp, in an old tire, in a child's toy left in the yard, in the saucer of the dog's water bowl, in a wheelbarrow, in a bird bath, in the crook of a downspout. A tablespoon of still water left a week is a mosquito nursery. So when the mosquitoes are thick, you do not have an air problem. You have a water problem, and it is almost always your own water, close to home, because a mosquito is a weak flyer, and most of them never travel far from where they were born. The mosquitoes biting you on your porch were, most of them, made right there in your own yard. That is hard to hear, but it is the best news I can give you, because it means the cure is right there in your own yard too. I will tell you how my grandfather taught me this, because it stuck. One summer, the porch was near unbearable, and I was all for hanging every kind of trap and burning every candle we had. He would not hear of it. Instead, he walked me around the whole place, slow the morning after a rain, and he had me look, really look, low and close at everything that could hold a cupful of water. And we found them. an old cracked crock behind the spring house with an inch of rain in it. The saucers under my mother's flower pots on the porch, everyone holding water and everyone crawling with wigglers when we look close. A wheelbarrow left tipped up to catch the sky. A clogged length of gutter. He had me tip out everyone and clear the gutter and turn the wheelbarrow over. And within a week or so, the porch was ours again, and we had not spent a cent nor lit a single candle. He said to me, "A mosquito is just a puddle that learned to fly, and if you never let the puddle sit, you never get the mosquito." 60 years on, I have never found a truer word about it. Now, I want to take a moment, because this is the part that matters. Think about everything the world sells you to fight mosquitoes. There is a truck that will come and spray your whole yard every few weeks all summer for good money. A barrier spray, they call it. There are foggers and misters and zappers and citronella by the case. And here is what all of it has in common. It goes after the grown mosquito flying in the air, the one that is already made, and it does nothing at all, about the water where the next 1,000 are growing right now. So the spray truck comes, kills the adults in your yard for a few days, and meanwhile, the wigglers in your clogged gutter and your tarp fold and your flower pot saucers keep hatching, and in a week you are bitten again, and it is time to pay for another spraying. It is a treadmill, and you are on it. Worse, that barrier spray does not know a mosquito from a honeybee, so it kills your pollinators and the good insects right along with the few mosquitoes it catches. And that zapper crackling on your porch? The studies are plain. Those things kill mostly harmless moths and beetles and hardly any mosquitoes at all, because mosquitoes are not much drawn to the light. So you are electrocuting the innocent all night, and the mosquitoes ignore it. There is good money in a spray truck that must come back every 3 weeks. There is no money at all in a man telling you to walk your yard and turn over your flower pot saucers. That is exactly why you have heard so much about the one and so little about the other. Let me give you the free cure. The first thing, and it is the one that matters more than all the rest put together, is to walk your property and dry up the standing water, every bit of it you can. Do this after a rain when the water is showing, and hunt like you mean it. Tip out and turn over every flower pot saucer, bucket, watering can, and wheelbarrow. Clean your gutters so they drain and do not hold water in a clog. Pick up the old tires, the toys, the tarps, or arrange them so they cannot cradle water. Drill a hole in the bottom of anything that must sit out, a swing seat, a recycling bin, so it drains. Fill in the low spots in the yard where puddles stand for days. Store what you can under a roof. And here is the rule that ties it to what I told you about their week of life. You do this every week, because the cycle is about a week, so a walk around once a week, tipping out anything that has caught water, breaks the whole thing before a single new crop can hatch and fly. One thorough walk of your yard, once a week, does more against mosquitoes than every product in the store. And let me give you the places folks miss the most, because the obvious bucket is easy. It is the hidden ones that keep breeding them. The little saucers under every potted plant, indoors and out, those are the worst offenders of all, and nobody thinks of them. The corrugated flexible pipe on the end of a downspout, the kind with ridges, holds water in every ridge and cannot be seen into. The fold of a tarp, a boat cover, a grill cover, a pool cover, anywhere fabric sags. The rim and the folds of a swing seat or a tricycle, the saucer of a drip tray under an air conditioner, the bottom of a recycling bin left out in the rain, a tree with a rotted hollow that catches water, the base of a bird bath and the pleats of a patio umbrella when it is closed. Even a stack of empty plant pots nested together will hold a surprising amount. Walk your place with those in mind, and I promise you will find water where you never dreamed it sat. The second thing is for the water you cannot dump, the rain barrel you are keeping, the ornamental pond, the low wet ground, the animal trough, the ditch. For these there is one wonderful old and new helper, and it is a natural thing, not a poison. It is a bacterium sold as little floating rings folks call mosquito dunks, or as granules. That bacterium, its long name is a mouthful, so I will not trouble you with it, does just one thing. It kills mosquito larvae, the wigglers, and it is harmless to people, to pets, to fish, to birds, to bees, to everything but the mosquito larva and a couple of its close kin. You float one of those rings in your rain barrel or your pond, and it keeps that water from making mosquitoes for about 30 days. And it does not hurt a thing that drinks there or swims there. For a rain barrel, also put a fine screen over the top, so the female cannot even get in to lay. For an ornamental pond, a few small fish will eat the wigglers, and a little fountain or pump that keeps the water moving discourages her from laying there at all, because remember, she wants it still. And the bird bath and the pet's outdoor water bowl simply dump and refresh them every couple of days before a wiggler ever has time to grow. Between dumping what you can and treating what you cannot, you shut the factory down. The third thing is to make your yard a poor place for the grown mosquitoes to rest, because in the heat of the day they do not fly about. They hide, resting in cool shade, in tall grass, in thick weeds and brush and shrubbery. So keep your grass mowed, cut back the tall weeds along the fence and the foundation, and thin out the dampest, densest shrubbery near where you sit. A tidy, sunny, mowed yard gives the resting mosquito nowhere to wait out the day, and far fewer of them will be on hand to come after you come evening. The fourth thing is for the porch itself, for the evenings you want to sit out, and it is the simplest trick of all. Set a fan blowing across your porch. A mosquito is a weak light flyer, and it simply cannot make headway against a good breeze, so it gives up and goes elsewhere. A box fan on the porch floor or a ceiling fan blowing across where you sit will keep the mosquitoes off you better than any candle, and it costs pennies to run, and it cools you besides. My grandfather kept a hand-crank stir of air going on the worst nights, and we have it easier than that. A fan on the porch is the best-kept secret there is for sitting out in comfort. And the fifth thing is what you put on yourself when you go out into the thick of them, at dusk or down by the pond. If you want a plant-based one, the oil of lemon eucalyptus is the one with real strength behind it, tested and proven, though I will tell you plainly, do not use that one on a little child under 3 years old. The label says so. There are other good repellents at the store as well, and whichever you choose, you follow the label. That is the law and the safety, both. Cover your arms and legs with long sleeves and long trousers at dusk if you can bear it. For that dawn and that dusk are when they bite the worst, and a light long shirt turns most of them away with no spray at all. Now I have to be honest with you about the limits and give you a real word of care. First, understand, this is not only about the itch and the nuisance, though that is reason enough. A mosquito bites one creature and then another, and in doing so, it can carry sickness from one to the next, real diseases, and that is why keeping their numbers down around your home is a matter of health and not just comfort. I do not say that to frighten you, only so you take the water seriously. Second, do not put your faith in the things that are sold hard and work little. Those zappers, as I said, do next to nothing for mosquitoes. The plants they sell you, the citronella plant, the ones that promise to clear your yard just by growing there, they do very little on their own. A pot of them is no substitute for dumping your water, and a citronella candle only helps a small still pocket of air right around it, and not much. Third, the water work is not once and done. It is a weekly habit through the warm months, because they come back as fast as the water sits. And last, if you do put a repellent on your skin or your children's, read that label and mind the ages, especially with the oil of lemon eucalyptus and the little ones. Do the water, and you will need the skin repellent far less. So here is what I want you to do. After the next rain, walk your whole property with your eyes open and tip out, drain, or store every single thing holding still water, the saucers, the buckets, the gutters, the tarps, the tires, the toys. Do that walk once a week all summer. Drop a mosquito dunk in the rain barrel and the pond, screen the barrel, get the bird bath changed every couple of days. Mow your grass and cut back the damp brush where they rest. Set a fan on your porch for the evenings. And keep a good repellent by the door for when you head out at dusk. Do that, and by next week, your evenings on that porch will be your own again. Now tell me in the comments below. Go walk your yard after the next good rain, and really look, and tell me what you find holding water, because I will wager most of you find 3 or 4 little pools you never once thought about. An old saucer, a sagging tarp, a forgotten bucket. Tell me what yours were, and tell me honest. Have you been paying a truck to spray your yard? Because I would like to know how many of you were sold the spraying and never once told to just dump the water. Tell me your county too, and how thick they are where you are this year. Next time, I am going to show you how we keep the mice out of the house come the first cold nights of fall, without a single snap trap or a bit of poison in the walls where the cat or the child could find it. Just a few old ways that stop them at the door before they ever get in. Until then, walk your yard, tip out the water, sit in a breeze, and remember, the people who kept a comfortable home in this country with their own 2 hands knew things we are only just starting to remember.